As always, welcome to this week's Pickleball Warehouse vlog. I'm Mark, and today's episode focuses on pickleball shoes, or more specifically, the anatomy of a pickleball shoe. Now, I've been excited to do this vlog for quite some time, as even though over the past few years there's been obvious leaps and bounds of improvement in terms of pickleball equipment, I still notice too many people running around, or even worse, rolling their ankles on court wearing either a casual sneaker, a cross-training shoe, or even a running shoe. Now the bad news is, even with your favorite paddle, pair of sunglasses, and hat, you are still inhibiting your overall performance and increasing the odds of injury without wearing a proper court shoe. The good news is, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what 5 traits to look for when purchasing your next pickleball shoe. Now, before we start with those 5 traits, let's just talk about shoe basics. Here we're looking at an excellent court shoe here, and this is the medial side, shifting to the lateral side, and then we can go from rear to front. We've got the heel, the midfoot, the forefoot, and the toe area of the shoe. Now let's dive into the 5. All right, first up, you've got to have a supportive upper. The upper refers to the material that wraps up and over the top of your foot. Usually the base layer is mesh, and that provides a lot of ventilation or breathability along with a major degree of support. And then to really reinforce that support, TPU overlays are strategically located around the mesh to really hold your foot in place while making those abrupt directional changes on court. Next up, and this is another must for a good court shoe, you've got to have that good heel counter in the back. I chose this shoe because everything's very external. It's almost like an ectoskeleton shoe, so it's really obvious what's going on here in the rear. This is the heel counter, and this, like the upper, ties into the overall support of a shoe and prevents the heel of your foot from either lifting up and or shifting side to side internally, again, while making directional changes on court. The third up, and this is another must for a good court shoe or pickleball shoe, this is the Midfoot Shank, usually made of plastic or TPU and located right underneath the arch of your feet. This is another mechanism that ties into the overall support of a good court shoe. It prevents your foot from kind of torquing and twisting while making those on-court movements. Now, the fourth up, this is the midsole, and this is where I'm going to go ahead and just pull this shoe apart. We're looking at the midsole here. This is a rubber compound you can see with the yellow here and in the back. This is responsible for most of your comfort or cushioning coming from your shoe. And we could basically do it 2 ways. A thicker midsole is going to give you a higher degree of cushioning, but at a certain point, the stance of the shoe is going to be pushed high enough off the ground where it's going to come at the sacrifice of some maneuverability. On the contrary, you can go with a thinner midsole, and that is definitely going to keep you closer to the ground, giving you a very connected feel to the court. So your directional changes are going to come a little easier, but again, at a certain point, that could come at the expense of some comfort or cushioning as well. And last but not least, we're going to go back to this shoe right here. We're looking at where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. That is an abrasion-resistant outsole. Most of these companies are coming up with a rubber compound that kind of strikes a balance between great predictable traction and overall durability. And as with making the purchase of any shoe, you definitely want to factor in things like the width and length of the shoe. But for it to be a good court shoe, you've got to have the 5. That is the supportive upper, the heel claw, midfoot shank, shock absorbing midsole, along with an abrasion resistant outsole. So that's it. Those are the 5. Now you know. That's a wrap for this week's vlog. If you'd like to learn anything further on what constitutes a good pickleball shoe or anything else pickleball related, be sure to head over to pickleballwarehouse.com.